behind me, revolver tight in my fist, and tried to look everywhere at once. A woman walking down toward 3rd stopped at the edge of the alley on my right and stared at me. She didn't scream or run, just stared bug-eyed at me, and the gun in my hand, as if she were paralyzed. The only thing that moved was her mouth. It dropped open, and she pulled it shut. Then it opened and shut again, as if she were chewing 10 sticks of gum. I guess I looked pretty silly, but not as silly as she did. A man came up alongside her and strained his eyes at me, and I waved them both back with my left hand. He grabbed her by the arm and pulled her back out of sight. I couldn't stand there all day. If somebody had taken a couple of shots at me, he was probably long gone by now. But it was time I started finding out what the score was. My cab was parked just across the sidewalk, and if I leaned out, I could see the front fender. It looked like a 100-yard dash to get there, but I bent over and leaped toward the side of the car. Nothing happened. I slammed into the door and huddled down behind the car, facing the window of Pete's bar. I could see the 2 holes, one high up, the other near the bottom of the glass. I could see, too, where the bullets had hit Pete's display inside. He had an off-sale license, and bottles of whiskey were arranged inside the window. One of them, over the left of the bullet holes, was shattered, and the liquor had spread out over the shelf that the bottles were on. That meant that the shots must have come from the northeast somewhere, farther down Broadway and up high. Probably from one of the office buildings along the street. I slid on my fanny back toward the rear of the car, far enough so I could get the door open, reached up and pulled on the handle, wondering if there'd be any more bullets flying my way. As the door swung open, I glanced up the sidewalk. There must have been 20 damn fool people standing there, milling around and looking at me as if I were nuts. If I had been off my rocker, I could have blasted hell out of them with the gun in my hand, but there they were. All of a sudden, I wondered if maybe I was nuts. Goofy or not, I slid up into the car and hunched over, and with the back of my neck tingling, I got the car started and wheeled it around in a U-turn, headed north on Broadway. I stuffed the Colt revolver back in its clamshell holster and looked down the street. There were several buildings on my right where a guy could have planted himself with a rifle or a pistol and had a beautiful view of the sidewalk where I'd just been, or even where I was now. There were too many places to check, but I was going to do some prowling anyway. 45 minutes later, I'd done a lot of running around and asked a lot of questions and got a lot of nothing. It was hopeless to try to find an empty office or a room overlooking the street from which somebody could have sniped at me. There must have been a million places the guy could have been. I gave up. When I got back to the Hamilton building, there was a gray police radio car parked in front. I pulled in behind and sat in the car. A uniformed patrolman was talking to a woman in the Hamilton entrance, and a plainclothes sergeant I knew, Danny Russo, was looking at the bullet holes in Pete's window. Pete was inside, looking out, examining the damage and shaking his head. Danny turned around and saw me. "Hi, Shell," he said. "Better watch yourself today. Some screwball's running around loose." "Screwball?" "Yeah." He walked over to the car and leaned in the window. "Well, some guy's running around waving a gun and shooting things up." "That's me." "Huh?" He stared at me. I was getting used to it. "Probably me," I said. "Those holes in the window?" I nodded toward the plate glass. "Somebody used me for a target. I climbed into the alley and yanked out my gun and scared a lot of people." He kept staring, then his lean face relaxed, and he grinned. "Sure. What you smoking nowadays?" "Damn it, Danny, I'm serious. I tell you, somebody took 2 shots at me. I've just been trying to find out where the guy could have been, with no luck." "Fact?" "Fact, so help me." Danny opened the car door and slid in beside me. He pushed back his brown hat and scratched his head. "Wouldn't you know," he groaned. "They tell me this guy came..."